I use Cliff Notes for the Nick series and all of those.
Is this how you get away in life? I feel like this is the story of your life, like low key, like mildly understanding main topics to where because you see how that gets you in trouble when people get into detail.
And my reason is for one that you may share, possibly. I have a very low tolerance level for stupid bullshit.
Now y'all thought y'all could get that past us. Welcome to the Dissect the BS podcast. I'm Uzo.
And I am RJ.
And today we are going to get into this book, I Am Glad My Mom Died, which is a book by Jeanette McCurdy. She is a former child star. She was on iCarly, which I loved. I watched that show literally up until like my freshman year of college. Mm-hmm. I loved iCarly.
I don't know. I missed out on those.
It was cute. It was cute. It was definitely a quirky little show. Fun fact, I used to be like, so you know I wanted to be like a star, right? So I was all up in that. So I would research Dan Schneider, which of course now we all know, which I'm sure the more we read, she finna give us the tea.
Expand on that.
Yeah. But over like the last couple of years, like his stuff is coming to light.
Yeah.
But I used to be a big fan of him, Schneider's Bakery. I remember researching him and I was like, oh, he has this television company and Schneider's Bakery. He produced this show.
Mm-hmm.
Like I loved all his shows. Like I love Drake and Josh, all that.
They're crazy.
Amanda Show. I loved Victorious. Like
he did make it into her singing career. It's so important.
Victoria Jess, she was so cute, right?
She was cute. But like, I'm like, as you went on the shows, I was marking the people off the list.
Oh my God, because she was so beautiful. I loved what's her real name? Her name is Victoria Justice.
Yeah.
On the show, her name was Tori Vega.
Yeah.
But like, Victoria Justice. I'm sure she's still beautiful.
Yeah,
but who would have thought that
Ariana?
Yeah, Ariana saw the show. And she was like, ooh. If you he was literally like, move out the way. Like it's like y'all thought y'all was gonna have me running around this show looking like a little mouse.
Yeah, and I think as we expand into this book and that story, like
we'll get the real tea.
Yeah, and because I think Ariana's character was very like I just was not here for like how she acted.
She wasn't my favorite on the show. I like Tori. I liked Andre, of course, his little urban self. I liked him with the dreads. I like the I don't want to be politically incorrect, but the the love interest guy. I don't know what his ethnicity
I didn't watch this show.
Oh, okay. Never mind. We won't get into that. I thought we were talking about my fellow fan. Never mind. We don't even have to go there.
We'll move over to Disney.
I thought when you were giving me characters and description, I thought that we were on the same page.
No.
Look, this is why
I use Cliff Notes for the Nick series and all of those.
Is this how you get away in life? I feel like this is the story of your life, like low key, like mildly understanding main topics to where. Because you see how that gets you in trouble when people get into detail. I'm actually hollering. That's hilarious. Oh, that's so funny.
It's true though.
I mean, most people are going to be like, all right, sure. So if it gets you by, child, it gets you by. But so I have a couple of things. I think that, so first of all, we're covering chapters 1 through 4.
Yeah.
And let me know, how do you feel about the title? Like, what was your first thought when you read the title and you saw the cover? Because she looks like a Stepford wife. She's so precious.
She does. I mean, I think the look is also very detached and
Yes.
thankfully, you know.
Like dead behind the eyes.
Yeah, you know, so when I heard of the title, like that was kind of following a lot of her, you know, promo and talking about really what her story, you know, is. And like, you know, when I heard it and like saw the book, I was like, oh, this is befitting. Like, you know, it was clearly something that affected her. I mean, even her character, like from what I would see of her acting, you know, Cliff Note-esque, like she was so mature and detached at such a young age where it was like, oh my gosh, she's so like relatable.
Yeah.
And I know like even at that time, I think, a reference point was just like, now having read, you know, a couple of the chapters in the book, it's all very interesting.
Yeah.
So I will say when I first saw the title, it was like, of course it grabbed my attention. And I was like, oh my God, I want to know more. Although, bitch, I did not watch anything. But, you know, I know who she is, and her story is not foreign, but it's very interesting to see her perspective on that and to hear what that's like on, I think, something that is still so fresh, you know, to a lot of our knowing and what we see. So it was a go for me.
This is clearly like her healing journey, and I'm all here for it. Being a child all up in Nickelodeon, Disney, like you look at it through rose-colored goggles, and you just think it's all butter and biscuits and just honey buns and Twinkies. When in actuality, she was over here eating spinach. Like literally, she had an eating disorder due to her mother and Edie. But yeah, like I think it's probably her healing journey from what I've read. It seems like it's going to be pretty witty, pretty frank, which I love.
Very
and
direct.
One thing that stood out to me, I don't know, did you read the prologue?
So I did listen to the prologue, yeah. Oh,
listen?
And for context, I do have the audiobook.
Okay.
That is actually narrated by the author, which is very interesting.
Well, that's good. Is she doing the inflections and stuff?
Yeah, she is. She is. Yeah.
No, that's awesome.
It definitely feels very, you know, like cathartic. Like it's very emotional. You get reference points of really where she's coming from and how that felt. When I think when you're reading, you're kind of conjuring an understanding of that feeling. So yeah, I did listen to it.
That's good that she narrated it though. I feel like only she could narrate a book like this though. Like her, I guess this is an autobiography.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So, okay. So one thing that stood out to me in the prologue that I wrote down was that, of course, we know that, well, if y'all don't know, this is a spoiler alert. If you haven't figured, we're going to be talking about specific things that have happened in chapters 1 through 4 and throughout the series until we finish this book, in case you did not pick up on that yet. But in the prologue, of course, like her mom is on her deathbed, right? And it's her and her 3 brothers there. And they're all saying like little things to the mom, hoping that the mom will like perk up and be like, oh, so one brother is like, hey, mom, I'm getting married.
Yeah.
And then like, oh, and like they're just telling them like, you know,
Nick.
Yeah. Oh, I don't remember who child, but like, they're just basically trying to wake up their mama or whatever. And so like when the other brothers, like when everyone else leaves the room, Jeanette's there. And as we learn in chapters 1 through 4, there's like a weird codependency between her and her mother. What she thinks will wake her mom out of the coma is saying, hey, mom, I finally got down to 80 pounds. At this point, Jeanette, we're the same age. So in 2013, I want to say I was like 20, 20, like I believe I was 20, right? What is a 20-year-old doing celebrating that they're 80 pounds? I don't care how tall you are. You could be 4'11". I don't even think that's appropriate. That's an appropriate weight for that. So how did you feel about that?
No, when I heard that, you know, as she's going through the story, I was, because, you know, listening to the audiobook, I felt her experience, you know, they're just like, oh, the ebb and flow of the situation and really understanding what was happening, you know, and that her mom wasn't going to make it ultimately, like she's not there anymore. And that was like, it was kind of a settling feeling because hearing it, she didn't sound like she didn't sound detached. She sounded like she was processing, but it's just like
It was
I
like,
know
oh,
this
hey,
is
by
gonna
the
work.
way.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
like,
this is what it is. This is what excites her, and she builds to that, over the
mhm.
next coming chapters. But I think that set the tone really for what their relationship
Yeah.
was. And that for me was just like, oh, this is a great way to introduce because it's really gonna highlight what that, as you said, codependency,
Hmm.
look like. So
Yeah.
I think it was a good setting. So and it just really was frank and delivered to understand what it was from
Hmm.
this, and then I'll
Hmm.
build on from there. So I
Yeah.
thought it was a great entry point.
Yeah. I was like, oh my goodness, what am I getting into? That she
Yeah.
thinks her mom was going to jump for joy at 80 pounds. So
Yeah.
I was like, ooh, so we're coming in heavy. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, Jeanette, don't hold back. So as we transition to chapter one, I believe Jeanette is 6 years old at
Mm-hmm.
the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I noticed that within the first couple of paragraphs of chapter one, she seemed very aware of
Mm-hmm.
like her surroundings and like the behaviors of adults around her, to where
Mm-hmm.
her at 6, she's tiptoeing around like her grandpa because her grandpa is snapping all these pictures as she's
Yeah.
like, unboxing presents for Christmas.
Yeah.
She's tiptoeing around her mom because her mom likes her to peel, not
Yeah.
rip the presents. And like she gets this outfit that she hates from Rugrats,
Mm-hmm.
which I'm like, that's how I
Angelica.
know we're the same, because Angelica was that girl, but she hated
Mm-hmm.
Angelica, but she knows to like fake and act like she likes it. And in my head, I was like, 6 years old, that's a very young age for you to be that aware. And not only for you to realize it, but for you to honestly care
Mm-hmm.
about what's going on, because kids are selfish, very, very
Yeah.
selfish little things.
Yeah.
Very, very selfish little things. They do not care
Yeah.
about anyone else.
Yeah.
So for you to be 6 and to be that empathetic, for you to really know to tiptoe around everything that's going on, and for you to be able to like fake emotions
Mm-hmm.
and like, really form into that mold that young, I thought that was interesting.
Yeah. I agree. I think I agree to an extent because I think like because all of that was happening around her and
Yeah.
like the height of that codependency and emotional attachment from her mom,
Mm-hmm.
it was so apparent. She expanded on it as she went throughout. I feel like you kind of, in a way, as a child, even if I think about my own experiences, whatever resonated emotionally,
Mm-hmm.
like you would remember,
Yeah.
and you would note how others are responding around you,
Mm-hmm.
that you understand, and I think she made a point as we expand. When you don't understand, that's very different. But when you
Yeah.
do understand and you associate that because that's all that's around you, I think you kind of do get to know those things. So like I think what I was surprised at was the depth of it because I
Yeah.
can't even recollect
So I
that
was like,
much.
are you
But
making that up? But
yeah,
okay.
but I do get, I get, and I mean, I wonder, like, who are we in a way to say if something is inflated, because it's like, I wasn't there. I wasn't, but I was like, I don't know. But at the same time, it's just like, I understand how aware you can be at a young age.
Yeah. No, I can see where you're coming from with that.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I was just like a little brat, because I didn't start caring about other people till I was probably a smooth like 16.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be real.
Hmm.
Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like I knew what was going on. I just didn't care.
Yeah.
So maybe she was just, I don't know. But then it goes into, because at this point in the novel, we haven't gotten to the point to where we can really see. I mean, of course, it's only like the second page, child.
Yeah.
She hasn't elaborated on, what her mom was kind of feeding into her ear.
Yeah.
So I'm curious as to think, like, did the expectation start on her when she was 4? Or like, you
Hmm.
know what I mean? Or like, was
Yeah.
it just like, was she competent to understand? Because she
Yeah.
already seemed like she had it down packed at 6, to where,
Yeah.
okay, this is how you act. You walk in this line, you act like
Yeah.
this, and you make your mommy happy. To where
Yeah.
it's like, dang, how you got all that? Like, when you got that
Yeah.
back?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. That's a good
oh,
point. No, I'm
okay.
thinking to your point. That's a good point. But, you know, as we expand, I think that's a point that we could revisit because
I think she's definitely going to get into more depth.
Yeah, and she does.
So another thing that I thought was kind of funny, I'm curious to see how she like vocalized this in the audio version. But at her birthday party, when she was talking about that young man, her colleague, her 6-year-old colleague, who was obsessed with the color pink, and all the adults were like, we don't want him to like pink.
I don't know why. Is it because we're Mormon and it's not okay to be gay?
I'm like,
it was very frank. It was very frank, like what she thought others were thinking and how they were thinking. She delivered it in a very like clear way.
I chuckled because I was like, ma'am.
Yeah.
Because that was probably exactly it. But I was like, what else was this little boy doing other than liking pink? I thought that was amusing. I hope all was well with him. But neither here nor there. But hopefully he resurfaces throughout the book.
And lets us know about his lifestyle, where he's at now.
So also in chapter 1, they discussed how her mom was battling stage 4 cancer. She was diagnosed when Jeanette was only 2 years old. So, and maybe that's where the codependency or like the awareness comes from, because so much of her life at 6, you know, that's the majority of her life, 4 years of her life. Has been like, mommy's sick, mommy's this, mommy's in the hospital, have to be good to mommy. I'm sure she was getting that from her grandparents, her brothers. Her brothers seems like, her brothers are much older, right? One was 15. I don't think she said the ages of the other two, but I remember the oldest was 15. So he was grown. So he was probably like the one watching her and stuff. So I'm sure that that's where that hyper awareness stemmed from so young, because it was such a tragic thing happening that needed all hands on deck. So, so basically, so the mom is in remission at this point though, but she kind of reminisces, like she makes it a point to like watch homemade videos when she's near death every Sunday, just to be joyous to where she's at. I don't know about you, but like, I used to be a little chunky. And it's like, I don't even want to take before and after photos. Like, I don't like looking at bad points. Like, I think I remember it and I don't forget that things happen to me, but like, I've never been one to like look back at like terrible times that are documented. I want to like get rid of that so I can move forward. So
it's a mentality though.
So I don't think there's anything wrong with like keeping certain mementos and like even keeping the videos. But the way that she described it, it was like a Sunday ritual to where she would watch it, and just in the way that her mom would speak about it, she was like happy that she got the attention from being sick. It was interesting.
She, I think, said it, you know, to where like she was this poster child and like all these things are supposed to happen, and this is, you know, the response of this immense amount of care coming to me and attention, and it's you know, a dependency almost, you know, on that emotional attachment from others, and having that be at the forefront of their lives. And I think, as you said, like around her family, very toxic, but only when you know better, you know. So it's unfortunate, but it's a lot of situations like that, you know, a lot.
I hate it, but I was immediately like, ooh. And Jeanette mentions that there was like a constant tension around the house because that was happening. I guess they didn't think that they could move forward because everyone was kind of looking over their shoulder to see, you know, if the cancer would come back at some point. So she kind of created that barrier of uncomfortableness. And I can kind of relate to that, because in my home, we were always on pins and needles, like when my dad would come back from work, to where, because he would come back and he would just be yelling at us for no reason. Like, I remember like when he would come back, we would all like run to like get out of like the living room. I used to play like I was asleep. So RJ, I used to be like hanging off the couch, like in all odd positions. I like mastered my breathing, like to be like even, because sometimes he would walk up to me to see if I was awake. And I would just like, if I couldn't get to my room quick enough, I would pretend to be asleep, to where it was always that constant air of like, oh, we're all happy and having fun, but knock, knock, knock. It's like, oh, What's the issue
Yeah.
going to be today? So when she was describing that, I was like, although it's not that deep, with my situation, but I was like, yeah, I definitely know how it is to be young and kind of like tiptoeing, trying to scurry
Yeah.
out the way, trying to avoid, dodge bullets.
Yeah.
So, and I think no one should have to go through that because your home is supposed to be your home. But
Yeah, but it's very interesting because I will say I was talking about this point yesterday.
yeah.
And I was having a conversation about emotional husbands
Mhm.
that, a lot of moms, especially in the Black community, make their sons, especially, so I really think that there's a structural component, especially in the Black household, if both parents are there, what that looks like with, maybe a leading patriarch or, all these things. Like there are so many variables. So like a lot of what she was saying, granted, like I think as it expands,
Yeah.
my response will become a bit more like I don't know. I don't want to say empathetic because that's the wrong word to use. I definitely feel for her experience, but a
Mhm.
lot of things in a way, not that I've experienced, I do want to
Yeah.
preface with that, but are kind of common, are really is unfortunate.
Yeah.
I think, when you look at the people who are in the industry and
Mhm.
what that is, but it's like, you look at her situation and breakdowns and this, and it's good that she is sharing, and I think that's what I've
Yes.
appreciated
It's
so far.
it's clearly a
Yeah,
process where I'm like, girl,
yeah,
let it out. Like,
yeah,
ain't whatever. It's not
yeah,
up to us. I mean, of course we're gonna critique it, child. That's what we doing.
yeah,
But
yeah.
it's like this is your process. Make your
Of
coin
course,
because you
and
ain't gonna be in no
heal.
shows.
Yeah,
You're retired, so you have to find another skill set.
right.
I'm not mad at her. Not mad. And it's funny that we may have to talk about this in another episode,
Yeah.
another topic aside, because I saw something on Instagram that made me kind of feel a type of way. When we get off, I'm going to show you that video. Well, I kind of want it to be an authentic reaction now,
Okay.
actually.
Oh my God. So let's.
That's it. I hope this has nothing to do with this, y'all. So I'm so sorry. But
We're dissecting the BS one bit of
yes.
info at a time.
I'm so sorry. So I sent it to one of my homegirls. I saw it on Instagram. I want to see if I can send it to myself really quick so we can pull it up. But I'm about to share my screen.
Okay, I'm
I'm just
ready.
going to share this page. Hopefully you can see it. Can you see this page
Yeah,
from the shade room?
from the shade room. Yeah.
Can you see anything else outside of this page?
No.
Okay.
You want you some sexy chocolate? Oh yeah, I want sexy chocolate. Okay, Jason, you want her to be tall or short? You want her to be skinny? I want her to be like mine. We know you want to be your age. I said, do you want her to be tall? Tall, yeah. Or you want her to be short? Yeah, sure. I want to be bigger than her because every man is bigger than a girl, so I want her to be like short. So you want a short girlfriend? You want her shorter than you? Okay, you want her to be skinny, or you want her to be thick, or you want her to be fat, or you want No, I want her skinny. So you want her skinny? Yeah, skinny girlfriend. What do you consider mommy? Do you consider mommy? What is mommy? Am I skinny? Mama, you pretty. You ain't got to go over there and hug me and tell me that. Jace, I know you said I'm pretty, but what do you consider me to be? Am I skinny? Am I fat? What do you consider me? You are getting fat, but I love you. I'm just saying you are getting a little fat. Okay, so you don't want a girl my size. What? I'm just saying. I love you. I'm just saying no, you're getting a little bigger. Big or something. You getting fat. You getting big. Yeah. So you don't
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, so let me stop this. I'm going to stop the share.
So, okay. I will say I think it was lighthearted. I
Yes.
will say that. I thought it was gonna be like a blue face situation. But I do think in the context of a child, like that's your mom. So you want to answer honestly, right? But at the same time, you can process, you can associate, you can do all these things that like when we think about, Jeanette and what she said as she was recollecting, opening that gift and slowly peeling, but doing so with enough urgency and looking at how everybody was responding and feeling, watching that video, you can literally see how
the same
that
thing,
happened.
being so aware.
Yeah, yeah, that's really how I feel about it. Cause like honestly, I think on the real level, like are those conversations like excuse me, are they girl, that was the cough, but I don't know.
You can't be blessed for a call?
Yeah, what's the cough?
Sure, no.
Oh yeah. So yeah, so like I will say like, okay, I wasn't thrown. I've seen some things like I think, did I send it to you? But the reason and I'll preface this to saying the reason I mentioned the emotional husband thing is that I was watching one of those ridiculous shows about being married and whatever, and that happening. And basically the son was like, hey, I want to commit, I want to marry her, I'm loving her. I didn't watch the whole show. I don't know if there's a problem in the relationship, but the mom was just like, so you're just gonna do this and not listen to what I have to say. He seems to be genuinely happy in his relationship.
Yeah.
So
was it 90 Day Fiance?
It wasn't. I don't. Was he? He was he was like fair skinned. She was fair skinned with the shortcut.
Okay, no.
I don't know. No. Yeah, but the thing is, it's so common. Like I've seen clips of those shows, and it's not like, hey, fall on your face. I'm here to pick you up if this is a first time situation. But think, smart. Not, what about all we've been through? Y'all are not together.
Child, like very. I don't got no children. Yeah. I don't got no children. So I tiptoe around.
I know.
But yeah. I wasn't a fan. I will agree that this was lighthearted, but when I saw it, I was like, I don't really like this. I didn't like in the beginning when he was talking about sexy chocolate because he's clearly like 6.
Yeah.
So I'm like, who is sexy chocolate? Are you talking about your literal Snickers bar? Like, what are you talking about, sir?
That's a Snickers.
I was just like, and he needs to be focused on growing back in those 2 front teeth.
Yeah. Oh no.
At that age, that is when you lose them. But you need to be more focused on regaining that. Okay. Instead of bantering about sexy chocolate. You should be, concerned about the tooth fairy.
For the tooth fairy. Bitch, what? About to say
I'm like, she needs to be teaching him the history of the tooth fairy because he's about to get all the coin, all his teeth about to drop out. But yeah, I was kind of like, I wasn't a fan, but okay. Back to Jeanette.
Yes.
So if we're transitioning into chapter 2, unless, do you have anything else that you wanted to visit?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, that was good.
Cool beans. So chapter 2, I noticed at the very beginning of chapter 2 that I was like, it's a no-no, especially when your kids are so young. But she was openly berating her father because I guess her father has a low-paying job. He's not special, and she was stating how she could have married anyone that she wanted. Like when she was in her prime before she got cancer.
Jones did a double take.
Period. Okay, she could have been anything in the world, and whatever. Which makes me think, like, is that the truth? Because how'd you end up here? Like, what was he? Maybe he was on top. Maybe as we get into the book, maybe he was on top and something happened. And he's not anymore. But I'm like, if that's the case, and if that's important to you, why didn't you? I didn't like that.
Yeah, I think, what was interesting is she did expand on dating a doctor who was had money at some point prior to. But I think what was interesting is Jeanette said that she finished the statement that her mom was making. She's like, or an Indian chief, or something like that.
Because she's heard it before.
Exactly. So I think that goes to like foster back to your point about when you consistently, talk about someone who is still a crucial part of your life. Yeah. In a negative way that could really impact what that relationship looks like, how that person feels, how you are around them in the space. Yeah. And, speaking from experience, not with that, but having, grown up in a household where people are still people and they're going through their own things,
Yeah.
And seeing that as a child and, kind of disassociating the mommy and daddy to mom and dad and looking at two individuals, like the uniqueness of their relationship really has nothing to do with me.
Yeah.
But also my parents never spoke ill, of each other and still don't,
And
and that is a beautiful thing because it allows you time to process that and like separate yourself so you're not like when you're in that space it's like, oh, I know how mom really feels about that and like like what is this,
Is
like
it wrong
would I be here? Ooh,
that my little messy self, I enjoy getting the tea
Mhm.
from both parents. Like they don't really go in on each other
Yeah.
for real. But it'll be like, oh, your mom, and it's like, oh, your dad. Your
I
mom and
mean
your dad.
that
And I'm
part
like,
is
because
good,
he do be
yeah.
doing that. Like I be encouraging the mess child. And I'm like, yeah, she do be on some other stuff, but that's what she want to do.
Yeah.
And they'd be like, yeah, but she needs to do this. And I'm like, well, you gotta tell her. I don't even
Yeah.
know. So
Lighthearted mess is always cute,
I enjoy
but
I
lighthearted mess is good.
I used to love, we could get into that in another episode. When I tell you I was a terror, which
No,
I
terror.
still have terroristic characteristics,
Terroristic
but
characters.
I don't indulge because now I
Okay.
know it's like, okay, you don't want the residual problems, but I
Yeah.
used to be a little instigator. Okay. Yes,
I
but
feel that.
I agree with you 100%. It's not if we're being like realistically and
Yeah.
for real around
Yeah.
kids that are so young that literally soak up
Yeah.
everything they watch you
Exactly.
24/8.
They're sponges.
They watch you all the time. They're
Yeah.
like puppies.
Yeah.
You look up, they're already staring at you,
Yeah.
trying to see what you're doing. So
Yeah.
with you, when you have kids that young, you can't be saying certain stuff
You
and
can't.
having inside jokes with your 6-year-old about your husband. Like that's
Yeah.
unprofessional.
Yeah.
But so, and then she like projected her childhood regrets about not being a movie star, actress, and her parents and all this stuff. To where, Jeanette wasn't interested in it, but the mom was saying that, she wanted to give Jeanette the life that like she never got to have.
Yeah.
And then that's when she first introduced like acting, like, you want to be mommy's little star.
Yeah.
And Jeanette already knew then, no, I don't. But like she knew that that's what it was, what it is, what it ain't.
To hear.
This is what we're gonna do. So,
and it was it's also like associating you're pretty, you're blonde, you have bright eyes, like all those things. Like you look at yourself differently, because you're still soaking and processing. So like if that's what you're getting, if it's not being, I think what you're pouring into, if it's not coming from a positive place, it's really, a child is going to be able to decipher that as they grow older, because they're still understanding and then they associate and then they process. It's a whole, is it Piaget's theory? It's like major girl.
Yes.
So I'm just trying, I'm like, right, is it like but yeah, so there's like, there's a lot. So like even that was very solemn to hear,
I didn't like it. I was just like, dang, because I mean, I was kind of on the opposite side of the coin. I wanted to be a star, and my parents were like, yeah, you could do that on your own. Like they were never like, oh no, you can't, but they weren't gonna take it. They weren't dropping me. I think they would have though, if I would have got discovered or if something would have happened, but they were not, just off of me saying it, they were not doing nothing for me. I could have been the next Keke Palmer. We're the same age. We could have been.
Oh my God, I love Keke.
Neither here nor there, because I used to hate Keke. I used to be so jealous of her.
Really?
I used to dislike Keke until I was probably like 17, and I was like, "Why? You know what? No, that's not cool." I remember like coming to the realization of being like, that's not cool. Like you don't like this girl because she's Black and she's an actress and y'all are the same age.
Yeah.
And you feel like that could have been you. So you got to stop that. Keke is excellent. But so it kind of reminds me of how I feel about like the YouTube family vlogging culture, to like where I mean back then of course it wasn't a thing, but to where like you're literally taking an unwilling participant and like forcing them to do something that they don't want to do. I feel like with child acting, it's always a little tricky because of course a baby, if you take your baby on casting calls, you don't know if the baby you're probably not going to know if they like it or not until they're like 2 or 3, because there's no like laws, there's no mandatory breaks, like when you're a child actor, there's certain things you cannot do because it's mandated by the state. And I know her mom would have went to town having her vlogging 24/8, doing all this stuff. So yeah, but what you look like you're itching to talk. What were you gonna say?
Yeah, so I was processing a range of emotions.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my God, yeah, what you're saying is true. And then I was thinking about all the families and I was getting annoyed. And then I was thinking about videos that I actually watched that resonated with me and bothered me.
Yeah.
That personifies this like honed in ideology on like physical features, having mixed race children, like broadcasting wealth, making it seem like everything's perfect, focusing on hair. I'm like, and granted, a lot of, what I just named, I think it's geared towards a specific audience. I have a very curated YouTube. I don't watch families, but the shorts, if you look at one video, everything will populate through there. It will not come on your actual feed, but it will definitely show up in your shorts. So I was watching a video yesterday with some mixed race couple. And they had 3 children, or maybe 4, I believe. I'm not sure. I think it was 3 boys, maybe, and then 1 girl who's older. I'm not sure. But they basically, the father who's Black, the mom's white, there was a baby, the youngest baby, he was covering his eyes the whole video. Well, like for a part of the video. And then like in the beginning, like you see the eyes are green, and then like you see like I think someone else had some different color eyes. And the baby, whose eyes he was covering was pretty, they look, you can tell they were white, and Black, but you could definitely tell they were white. And he had blue eyes. So it was just like, but his hand is covering, this Black man's hand, is covering this white looking baby's eyes, So it's
was
just
it like an unveiling?
Yes. And it's just like, I can't. And then another video I saw, like I could appreciate it. It's like, oh, yay. But that becomes like this cultish mentality of releasing the same kind of videos. I bet his eyes won't be blue when he gets older. 3 weeks later or 4 months later, they're still blue. Okay, great. Like, I'm trying to be like the bitch who like has 1 gray eye and 1 green eye. Like, why are we focusing on this? Like, I just think it's annoying.
So
and then I saw another video where like, I don't know the family, but like it's the mom is really fair skinned. The dad is Black. She's mixed, I believe so. And they have 3 children, if I'm not mistaken. They live in this huge house that they always like do videos out of. I really don't know their name, but the last video she put was like, okay, I'm gonna cater to my husband. And there's nothing wrong with that, absolutely. But it's just like, for the last 8 years, he's been faithful and taking care of us. So, well, I will hope he's faithful.
Yeah. Didn't you guys take vows?
I'm like, huh?
What is going on?
What is going on? What are you trying to give the people? So I support your
so we can get into that. Maybe that'll be a topic for our little interlude episode after this one, because we can talk to that. Like, honestly, yes. I don't know if we can say I don't know if we can say but
I believe so.
Everyone always like, whenever I watch videos, they're like, oh, like they call it like G. They're like, like, they try to, they do weird stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
like, it doesn't matter at this point. Y'all like, comment, subscribe, want to get monetized. But yes. Okay. So transitioning into chapter 3, this was Jeanette pushing through her first audition with the talent agency, knowing good and darn well that she did not want to get picked. But then on one end, she was like, oh, I better get picked because I ain't trying to hear my mama's mouth. And so she goes to the audition. Obviously she was cute enough to get picked for background work, but then
background
she
prop.
yes, which honestly, you know, that's how you get in there.
Yeah.
So that's good because the other little children had to go home. But she realized that there were other children that got picked for like acting or like voice roles.
Yeah.
Principal actors or whatever. So she automatically was like, oh, like let me like say this to my mom in a way that she doesn't know that there was a higher tier. And I was like, how are you that sneaky too? But okay, at 6, like I'm trying to think back to my mind at 6, and I don't really remember much of my feelings. I can think back comfortably to like 8, to where I was like, ooh, I can like think about how I felt at 8, but like,
I'm trying to think because there was, you know, I mean, I don't even want to like use this as an example. But, when I was around like 7 or 8, I was going to some magnet school somewhere. I was always going somewhere, child, but I was clearly young. So like I got a letter from like the gym teacher because she said I was talking too much in the line. And I'm like, everybody's talking. Like, why are you writing me this stupid ass
you were
letter?
probably, you know, you have a history of not turning around and were you facing towards the back?
No, I think I was in the middle of the line.
Okay.
Like, and I was just like, what? She's like, RJ, she's just like, you know, you're talking and this is quiet time when we're going into the gym and you're going to have to get this note signed by your parents. And I'm like, what? I'm like, why? So I write a letter in marker, right? I mean, I'm so young at that time. I'm like, and it had great punctuation.
Yeah.
The only problem was that it was in marker.
Yeah.
Okay, but I'm not about to be like, I'm about to get a whole pen because I never got a letter before. So, you know, I write this very well worded letter in marker. And I'm like, oh yeah, my parents wrote this and they signed it. And I don't even remember that conversation. All I remember is this motherfucking teacher, MFN teacher, sent the letter back to my house. And
in the mail?
Got it in the mail.
My thing is like, she really could have just called your parents. Why was she doing all of that?
She could have.
Oh, she's
and, like,
messy.
My mom got it, and like I was supposed to go out that day to Uplay. Child, it was a whole, mess. I got like flat 50 times. So when I say all of this, like I understand the mentality.
Wait a minute. I have questions. How long did it take for the mail to get there? Was it like 2 days or
like a couple of business days?
She's like, messy because she really should have just called your parents.
I'm like, the nerve of this woman. And I was upset when my mom showed it to me. I flushed that shit down the toilet.
That is hilarious.
I was literally in the bathroom. You know what? We were just talking about how Jeanette was able to recall that experience. I can tell you how.
Okay.
I was in the bathroom. I was like, what the hell? I literally thought my life was going to be over. And then my dad came home later. And that's something else, because I used to lie to child as a kid. So I have a couple of experiences that we'll save for later in the book where I feel like it's not just my story. But yeah, so I failed that because like the trickery games be in there. It's just like, you know, it wasn't well executed. It wasn't well executed.
That is hilarious. That is so funny. I just can't get over like the level of petty you have to be towards a 6-year-old. It's not like you're 12. It's not, she really could have just called, or she could have been like, hey, I know you wrote this.
And I remember
we're gonna try this again.
She was one of those controversial, but she was a K with an N. And I was just, she had the swoop hair.
What's a K with the N?
It starts with a K, it ends with an N. It rhymes with Farron.
Oh, okay. I was like, who?
So legit, because she's like, did your parents really write this letter?
Did you say yes though? So you missed your chance. Did you lie?
But I just gave it to you.
Oh my goodness.
Communication, get it signed by my parents. Like, sure, yeah. I don't remember what her name was. I want to say Miss Townsend, but I don't want to be lying. So we'll just stop the story here.
Okay, moving forward. That is actually funny.
Oh.
Oh my gosh. Oh my Jesus Christ. Okay. So she lied to her mom, or she omitted the truth.
Yeah.
And then the casting agent came out and was like, like the mom was asking questions. I guess at that point, the mom figured out that they were principal actors. And she was like, well, my daughter could do that. And then he was like, well, she seemed pretty nervous. I mean, she's still very young. She's only 6. So she has a lot of time to grow, but you have to make sure that she wants to do this. And of course, the mom was like, this is her life's work. This is her dream.
Yeah.
And the guy was like, okay. And he gives Jeanette a glance like, I'm so sorry for you.
Good luck. That was like the specific words,
I'm like, dang, how do you feel about that? Like, if you were the casting agent, like knowing good and well that like you can peep the situation, you probably seen similar situations like this. What would you advise? Like, I feel like I wouldn't even have picked her if I would, but I don't know what the interaction was. Like if he met the mom before, but like, I feel like if I would have known, I wouldn't even have picked her. Cause it's like,
I feel like people in those positions truly have to like completely be objective and look at the talent.
Yeah.
Cause I think about like baby models and like all of that. And like, there are so many things that you can pick up on. I would think even just as a viewer of some of these things where someone should maybe pull someone to the side and have a real conversation. But if that's the industry that you're in, I can understand why it would just be a look and good luck, And I know that sounds like, damn, but it's not a perfect world, So it's just like, it's like, well, perhaps maybe in the back of my mind, I know that she will be a star because her mom is so involved. And she does have a little bit of talent. She is just shy, So
but
I don't know.
Like, does she want to do this? Like, I feel like, because being shy is shy, right? You got to get over that. To where like he took the time to be like, and I'm sure it was after the mom was ODing, to where he was like, it seems like you want this. Like, does she even want this? But like, he took the time to be like, you have to be sure that she wants to do this, like her. Which I don't know. That is tough because of course you can't be like Miss Mary, Good Samaritan girl. Like, you know what I mean? Because it's nice, it's cute for us to say, like, oh, because I know I just said that I wouldn't have picked her. But like, honestly, if that was my job, and if I was doing that day in and day out, I maybe just be like, whatever. Like, you know what I mean? Exactly, it's kind of like, let's be realistic. Let me just get off the high horse and be realistic. But it's just sad. I wonder, I'm sure we'll see this as a reoccurring thing, but I wonder how many like other adults that she encountered that was like, girl, are you sure? Like, what's your mom doing at home?
Yeah. So, well, I feel like that's answered in the next chapter. I really do.
Okay.
And I don't know if we have the same touch points, but I'll see when you leave with yours, like what stood out to me.
Okay. You may have to add that on because I didn't get an answer to that. So you may have to add that on.
Wait, an answer to,
because you said that this may or that
yes. Okay,
maybe answered in chapter 4.
Yeah, I'll add that on. Yeah.
Okay. Cool beans. So in chapter 4, this is her first shoot. What stood out to me was that the mom was making it seem like she was making such a big sacrifice. She was like, we got up early. I overcame my fear of driving on the highway for you because I love you so much. And this is what you want to do. But in actuality, it's like, girl, you're making me do this.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to do this. Like, what are you talking about? So I thought that was pretty like manipulative. And you don't need to manipulate a 6-year-old. You could really just be like, come on, let's go. Or whatever. But it was very much so like, I don't want to diagnose people, but it was very much so narcissistic. Like it was weird. And I was just like, why are you hyping up all the things that you're doing for the dream that you definitely have created and manifested and put into place for this child who was just like, okay, sure, mom. Like she's not, because I know how I was as a kid. I was vocalizing like, I want to, she was not saying that. She was just going with the flow.
Yeah.
So how do you feel about that?
So, I mean, with that, I think Jeanette spoke on, really how, in a way, it was kind of bonding.
Yeah.
Like, it was and looking at the situation, manipulative. But if
Yeah.
you notice that ebb and flow of your mom's behavior and how
Like, this
she's
is what makes her
perked up
happy.
now,
Yeah.
you're associating that. And that even goes into, when she got the background on the X-Files and like memorizing that script, and recalling that to her mom, as a way to make her happy because this is
Yeah.
what she liked,
Yeah.
because vicariously it's feeding her interest. So,
Yeah.
it's really that that kind of just landmine of association because it is super positive. You like seeing your mom like this, these are good things, but how it's making you feel is very minute and small
Yeah.
because it's really just that. But if that's not something you're getting, and this is before, and this is something that you wanted, and now that you're getting it, you automatically want to keep doing it. You don't see
But
anything wrong with it because it's making mom happy.
I feel like that's why it brings me back to the point I had originally, I guess earlier on, when I was like, how early did this start? Because
Mhm.
remember, she was talking about like, oh, like we're so connected, we're
Mhm.
this and we're that before like this acting thing came about.
Yeah.
So it was like, it seems like it was something that was already like coming into play. Like it wasn't a situation to like where the mom ignored her and then
Yeah.
got her into acting and then they formed a bond.
Yeah.
It seems like it was some ooming going
Mhm.
on like at a
Mhm.
very young age to where it was like Jeanette was already like in like the first couple of sentences and the book, it was like, yeah, I know, like we're always so connected, like we have the best bond, and we're just like
Yeah. Mhm.
she's my mommy or whatever. So it's kind of like, dang, like if y'all are already connected, y'all didn't need this. But of course, we know the mom wants to like be her and is
Yeah,
living
and that's the
like,
thing, when you're a child, like, I
yeah.
think understanding how that is
Hmm.
a codependent relationship where you're
Yeah.
sapping the life vicariously,
Hmm.
from your child, like, you're not gonna understand the full scope of that,
Yeah. Of course.
at any time until you really reflect on it. So, like, I'm sure that that happiness and that adapting and turning on and off, was
Hmm.
why she was able to do it so early
Yeah.
because it started in those small stages. Maybe that like, let me lament with you and talk about your
Hmm.
father, and like you're sourcing that in, because you're mad if I maybe give this back to you in Indian chief, you'll know that I'm listening to you and you'll so it's like,
Yeah.
that
That's so
is a very
sad.
like weaponized way of I think taking the life from your child, and letting your
Mm.
child be a child. So it is very but it's also like the process looks so different for so many people. And I
Hmm.
guess when you lose yourself, and realize that you've lost yourself, this reflection and
Yeah.
expanding on everything like is truly a healing process,
Yeah.
versus continuing on because there are some people that I can name where I'm just like, oh, maybe make a song, another album, get off
Yeah.
of Instagram,
Yeah.
stop attacking your counterparts from,
Yeah.
just back in the day and the Mickey Mouse house. So moving on.
Oh,
Yeah, it's just it it's very powerful to really tell your story.
okay. So let's go ahead. I've like, do
Yeah.
you have any other thoughts on?
No, I mean, I just like I think like we this allows us to take a look at society.
Yeah.
And I think also like, I mean, I don't want to rabbit hole Jeanette's experience or like, but it really goes to show like there are still people around you
Yeah.
that you are talking to.
Yeah.
So the fact that like this is the healing process
Yeah.
really like makes me reflect on like who and how do we really surround ourselves as we expand in life, and even if you don't get to where you want to go,
Mm.
people that have the right interests,
Yeah.
for you, because
No,
doesn't
that's
matter if it's
true.
blood, doesn't matter if it's a friend, like how can you really know until that variable of financial gain and fame, reputation, whatever,
Yeah.
that's like the limelight, like how do you decipher? I mean, you can have a third eye, sure. I mean, I'm very like aware, but like truly people could really put some shit on you, and that's
Yeah.
just crazy. So
It's nuts.
yeah,
Yeah.
those are my thoughts.
Okay. Well, as always, I'm going to encourage you guys to shop www.essentiallyuzo.com for your affirmation-based home decor for your Black girls. We have affirmation floor mats, hair clips, and many more accessories to come. Thank you guys for tuning in to our breakdown of chapters 1 through 4 of I'm Glad My Mom Died. We will be back with this series semi-weekly. So I think that's bi-weekly, not semi-weekly, but bi-weekly, every other week.
Yeah.
Tune in to us next week when we're talking about, we don't know what we're going to be talking about yet, but we're going to be talking about something.
As we always do.
Period.